This is Via Voices, the podcast that brings you insights from the champions of international education. I'm your host, Brooke Roberts, and together we'll uncover the stories behind impactful global learning experiences and the professionals who make them possible. Fabiola Riobe is redefining global ed in community colleges.
And so for me, my why as to why I do this work has been crystal clear and crystallized for so long that it's all about being agile and pivoting. Right? Making sure that you are in position to, one, never show hurt, doubt, or fear, but focus on your faith so you can continue to inspire hope in others.
As a VP of Educational Innovation and Global Programming at Kansas City, Kansas Community College, she's designing programs that blend entrepreneurship and global learning to ensure international opportunities are not just for the few, but for every student. Hi, Fabiola. Thank you so much for being on the show.
Well, thanks for having me, Brooke. You look great.
Yeah, you look great. Yeah.
Thanks.
How do you like our setup here?
Really professional, really exciting. I feel like you're zhuzhing up the conference.
Yeah.
Yes.
We wanted to bring a little lights, camera action, to the experience for everybody. I'm really excited to chat with you today. Specifically, you work at a community college and in my hometown, no less. My background, I also used to work at a community college as well in international. So it's very near and dear to my heart. So I want to hear first from you. How did you launch your career in international ed? Like, what brought you to this little world of ours?
Well, the little world was actually brought to me, I think, by birth, right? So being someone who's a first-generation American, my parents were immigrants, right? My dad had to take, the TOEFL exam to study in the United States. So it's always been part of who I am in my DNA. And so for me, kind of thinking about it, I have a business background. I started in business, and I got to a point in my career where I had to make some executive decisions, right? About, service, leadership, what do you want your legacy to be? And then I fell into higher education, particularly at the community college space, because that's where people who look like my family background, that's where they had first access to education. Mm-hmm. I think about my mom who had to learn English from a community college. So things like that kind of holistically pushed me into that direction because I just wanted to be in a sphere where I could leverage myself and my experience to make positive impact.
Coming from, a business background into higher ed, what specifically, because you talked about legacy and impact, there's a lot of things you could do in higher education to have that impact. I know you have the background with your family immigrating, but what about your own international experiences that made you go, international is like where I should be?
That is a great question. I think it's two things, right? I think first thinking about, one, education holistically. Education is definitely, I think, the biggest tool in the vehicle that leads to economic transformation and also life and personal development. When you're able to understand yourself in different contexts and also understand the different things that help you to be who you are, that allows you to have a different lens in the world. For us, looking at community college particularly is because it's such a direct pathway to either more education or the workforce, right? Both of those things lead to that community transformation, personal growth and development, and family life, I think, access to intergenerational wealth. And so it's always been that driver for me. As someone with a business background, with an MBA, I was taught in school how to make money for other people. I was never taught how to make money for myself, right? Yeah. So kind of taking that mindset, which for me is an entrepreneurial mindset, and leveraging it not only in your community and your space, but what you do for yourself and what you do for others. And so international education works at the intersectionality of all of those things.
At Kansas City, Kansas Community College.
Whoop, whoop.
There you go. Tell us a little bit about your role there. I believe it's kind of a newer position. They haven't had as big of a focus on international previously. So tell me a little bit about how you came into KCK Ecosystem and what are you guys working on right now in your sort of vision for international?
That is great. The KCK ecosystem is a big ecosystem, right? Because there's just so many things happening in Kansas City in addition to the Chiefs.
Oh, yes. We have to, sad. Right? Let's take a moment. Yes.
But it's okay. It's okay.
It's okay. We still love it.
But it's okay. That's right. But the position that I hold is Vice President for Educational Innovation and Global Programming. And it is an inaugural position. I'm the first one to be in this space. And it's really focused on non-traditional student pathways. So in my portfolio, I oversee adult and continuing education, high school and dual concurrent programming, online education services, international scholar services, which is global programming as well, and workforce development. So the thing that kind of threads...
Wait. All of you?
All of that.
All of you? Okay, there's not like 17?
Right?
Okay,
no,
gotcha.
All of that. But I do have a great team.
Yeah.
Right? But the thing that kind of weaves all of those things together is the college's mission and commitment, right? To be the premier education partner, but also to really focus on students, regardless of where they are in their journey of lifelong learning, and to creating access for equitable opportunity for them to really have power and decision and agency in what they do with their lives. So what does that look like? It looks like you're an adult. You have skills. You want to re-enter into the workforce. Maybe you need to reskill a little bit, right?
Yeah.
Looking at the lens, for example, of international students, which I have to say shout out to the team because the international student population has grown over 44%.
Wow.
This, from term to term.
That's
and
fantastic.
we have over, right?
Yeah.
I love to say this.
Yeah,
we have over 200 international students on our campus.
Yeah.
So it's pretty dynamic for an institution that didn't have this focus 2 years ago.
Right. Yeah.
Right. And so what they're recognizing is that education is for all. And at Kansas City, Kansas Community College, we really focus on making sure that we are attracting all populations and we're giving them a quality education that could take them anywhere they want to be. We're launching our first study abroad program this summer.
Oh my gosh. Okay. Tell me all about it. Where's it going?
So we're going to Peru.
Okay.
Yes. And I'm excited about Peru because when I started at the college in 2023, my first course of business that November was to take the president on a 10-day partnership exploration tour to Peru.
So smart.
Right?
So smart. Yes.
I
You
love
gotta
it.
win them to the cause. You got to give them the experience, right?
Absolutely. And we focused on Peru because Peru has institutos, which are kind of similar to the community college framework, technical education schools, right? And they are focused on that workforce pipeline.
Yeah.
Just like we are in Kansas.
Yeah.
So why are we not sharing best practicing, creating opportunities, increasing mobility?
Yeah.
And so we went to Peru. We some great leaders, Ministry of Education, with the support of, the U.S. Embassy, the State Department. And here we are now, right? 2025, going back with a group of students in order to have a service learning project with one of our partners.
That's so cool. So have you already started the application process for that? How many students have signed up so far?
Yes, like literally 2 days before the conference. It was like last week. We started the application process. Students have been expressing interest. This Wednesday, we're having coffee and donuts, a fundraiser that the students put together where they're selling donuts to help support their cause.
That's great.
We had an initiative that sponsored 5 passports for students last fall. So we're pushing it.
That's fantastic. I love that. That's the first of many, I'm sure. The first of many.
That's
so exciting.
That is the goal.
Obviously, you talked about technical education and, career pathways, being the focus of the community college experience. I'm curious how you are leveraging technology in your office and with all of, the obviously a ton of things you have going on.
Yes.
How is technology positively impacting your work? Hopefully it's positively impacting
It is definitely positively impacting our work, and we're definitely using it as a tool to enhance our work and to make different connections, right? So right now I got this message. I love it. We have a fire science instructor who has been going through COIL training, collaborative online international learning training, and he's already identified a partner that he's going to be working with in the TVET program from Ghana, so that they could see how they could share best practices, co-produce a curriculum together. And all of that is because of technology, being able to jump on a virtual video call, being able to share curriculum, share ideas, right? Either one of them have never been to either Kansas or to Ghana, but here they are right now. Working together, exploring these opportunities. And that right there is just a little bit of how technology has helped us, particularly in this space.
That's so cool. Well, and I also love that, having a broader, umbrella of what you are defining as a global experience. So, because some institutions are not on board with COIL or virtual exchange, digital experiences. They think that's not the same. It's not the same, but it's still really valuable learning. And I love that you're sort of bringing it all into your umbrella from the beginning. Knowing that not every student is going to be able to get on a plane. right?
You understand, and particularly when you're looking at the community college student demographic, right?
Yeah.
There are so many other competing priorities, whether that's time, whether that's resources.
Family,
right? Those are big priorities. And when you're trying to tell someone that we're going to help you to get to where you want to be, but we don't want to do that, right? We want to make sure we're providing every option and every opportunity that can meet the students where they are in order to help them amplify their experiences and have all the tools that they need to really be competitive in this global workforce.
100%. Okay. This is like the more real-time question, I guess. You know, there's a lot of challenges, changes happening in the federal government right now that are directly impacting international education. What's one of your biggest challenges you think that is directly, specifically in your work, that you're most concerned about, and how you are hoping to tackle it?
That is a great question. I think I might have an unconventional perspective.
I love it. Yeah.
So I learned very early on, right, that no one said it's going to be easy, but it's definitely going to be worth it. And we have choices, right? We could focus on those things that we have control over, or we could lose our energy focusing on things that are literally going to drain you out of it.
Yeah.
And so for me, my why as to why I do this work has been crystal clear and crystallized for so long that it's all about being agile and pivoting, right? Making sure that you are in position to, one, never show hurt, doubt, or fear, but focus on your faith so you can continue to inspire hope in others. Because it's demonstrated right now more than ever, we need community, we need grace, we need empathy, we need all of those humanistic values and tools that's going to help us get to the next threshold. And so staying realistic and focusing on our students is what's pushing me forward. Not to say that you wake up on certain days, right? And you're just like, okay, here we go again. I don't turn on the news. Not to say that it doesn't exist, but I just don't want to be distracted. Because we have choices. You could be distracted by what's happening, stay committed and focused on what you know your assignment is and how you have to move forward for that.
Well, I want to shift gears a little bit. You know, you're involved in AIEA, obviously. I'm curious if you could talk a little bit about what are some of the best professional development things that or resources you've leveraged, especially coming into international ed, you know, from a different background. What's been the most helpful for you?
The SIO Academy.
Okay.
And we are still taking applications. And I have to say, as an alumni of the SIO Academy, where I had the opportunity to be mentored by some of the greatest, when I say greatest, I'm talking about Dr. Harvey Charles, right? If you know anything about the AIEA competencies, he's a premier author in that work as to what an SIO needs to be successful. You're talking about Pia Wood, and just their engagement and strategic enrollment management. Right? It's just, you know, Nell Pines, like, it's just so many opportunities to build networking, to build community. We have a great lineup of instructors as well for the SIO Academy. And what happens in the week-long workshop sessions are great by the mentors, by the instructors, but it's what happens after. You just literally went through a cohort-based process where people who are sitting in the similar position as you are in their own institutions, dealing with their own unique set of challenges, opportunities, and now you have direct access to that network. They become your tribe. They become your people. And so I have to say kudos and shout out to the SIO Academy. Obviously, I just mentioned the competencies for an SIO, and just AIEA holistically has pushed the envelope, I think, as being the premier organization that's focused on international education leadership.
Yeah.
That's what sets it apart. It's that leadership. And we know leadership is not a position, it's an activity. However, it really creates that community for people to maximize their leadership skills, their leadership network, their vision, in a safe space. So I love it.
Oh, yeah. And I just want to emphasize the safe space. I think last night at the presidential reception where we were honoring some people went through the fellows program, I believe, and the academies as well. And what struck me when people got up to speak about their experience was, you know, when you come to a session, like you're just in a room and they're presenting at you and, you know, and it's great and you can learn a lot there. But I feel like when you get to have that more meaningful, direct, conversation and connection about like, oh, you know, my provost is really, you know, being a pill right now for whatever reason, and like getting good, like candid feedback, heart-to-heart feedback on like, okay, here's how you could attack that issue or what have you. I think that having those personal connections is so valuable to be like, call them on the phone and be like, I need help right now, you know? And I think by putting yourself into these cohort environments, that's where you get that. I know I went through the NASA Academy like 5,000 years ago and early in my career, but I mean, I still talk to the people that were in my academy, and it's so important. I mean, we still like, you know, just gossip and do all this things.
That's your tribe.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, I love that. So when did you go through the SIO Academy?
Oh my goodness.
Has it been a minute?
It's been a minute, but not that long of a minute.
Yeah.
But it's definitely been a minute. And I was just speaking to Jen and Michael, who's here with, you know, University of Houston, one of the sponsors. We were all in the academy together.
Oh, okay.
And it was just like, oh my goodness, we've come a ways, right?
Yeah.
And being engaged not only as now like SIOs who are helping other up and coming SIOs, you know, in our own professional growth and our involvement in associations, because associations matter, right? It kind of helps keep the whole industry and the network at the forefront. So it's like, okay, we did this.
Yeah, that's so cool. I love that. So we're going to move on to a rapid fire portion. And it doesn't have to be one word answers, but we're just going to flip through them a little bit longer. Okay. So tell me about the last book that you read and how it impacted the way you see the world.
I loved it. It was The Medici Effect, and it talked about the intersectionality, and it just kind of speaks to me because I'm a network brain and everything is interconnected. So, yep, I love it.
The Medici Effect.
Yep.
Okay, love it. We're going to create a reading list for everybody from all these interviews. Yeah. Obviously at VIA, we're all about data. We think data is a superpower for SIOs specifically. What are ways that you're leveraging data in your work? Like, what's the most important data points that you like to be able to pull to give to your provost or your president?
Absolutely. I talk all about the money all the time. For me, it's all about the money. It's a return on investment. It's the opportunity cost when you're looking to the impact that international students does to their community and how much dollars and cents they're bringing to a population. When you're looking at companies, right now we're in a space where Panasonic North America is establishing their plant in DeSoto, Kansas. My college is the partner under my workforce program that's contracted to give them 200 AETs. Panasonic North America, the Japanese company, right?
Yeah.
Exactly. So the biggest plant. So we're talking about internationalization is for everyone, everywhere. So it's all about dollars and cents.
Yeah. Japan comes to Kansas. I love it.
I love it.
So if we were to remove all technical, financial, geographic limitations, what's one thing about our work that you would change like that make it easier, what have you?
Every kid, I mean, from K-12 would have the obligation to have a student mobility, an international experience where they are getting on a plane somewhere, going to a non-traditional location.
Yeah.
So that they get to experience a different culture, eat different food, talk to people in their own peer group.
Right.
That would be it.
Yeah.
Like before you even make it to the 6th grade,
right?
You've been somewhere.
Yeah. It's like, your thing right now is you're going abroad.
You're going abroad.
Yeah, that's your thing.
Required.
Yeah, I love it. Yes. Done. I vote for that. So finally, I want to talk a little bit about, more of the career development side again. There's people coming up behind you. I know you've done like the mentoring as well. What's one piece of advice you would give somebody who is maybe early in their career? They're looking at the SIO track as like, I want to be in a role like Fabiola has someday. What's a piece of advice you'd give them?
I would just say, be authentic. Right? Be authentic, make a decision and go after it. I think sometimes people look at certain opportunities and they say no to themselves, right? I'm not ready. I don't have this educational background. I don't have this. That is a deficit mindset. You have to focus on what are your attributes that you have already and how are you going to leverage them to propel you to the place where you want to go? Because trust me, all of us have things that we need to improve on, right? So it's just about from where you are right now, make a decision and go.
Love it. Just decide.
That's it.
I love it. Thank you so much for being on the show. I really appreciate you taking time out of the conference to sit here with me. And I can't wait to see you all out in the world.
I know. You got to come back to Kansas.
No, I'm in Kansas City. We're going to make that happen.
Okay.
I'm going to drive over like tomorrow or Friday. I'm going to be at your office.
Okay.
I'm
going to hold you to that. But thanks for having me. This has been fun.
Absolutely. Thank you.